Hi everyone, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel and to another edition of the weekly Tottenham News Review, where I'll be going through all the main Spurs news, rumours and reports. My name's Lee The Dorset Spur. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. So, a busy old week, hasn't it been, the last week or so? Last week, this time, we were playing Chelsea in Sydney in front of 80,363 people. Just shows how big football is over there and how big Tottenham and Chelsea are. Richarlison grabbed the late-minute winner and Tottenham come away 2-1 winners of that and became the Sydney Super Cup champions of 2026. You'll never sing that. And following on from there, there was a lot of talk about Richarlison's future, actually. De Zerbi was asked about it and he kind of talked it all through. He said, some quotes out, he didn't know what his future was. He likes him as a player, as a guy. It's unbelievable, the attitude and behaviour. But at the end, we have to respect what he wants to do and blah, blah, blah. And the comment was around, sometimes he wants to say, sometimes he wants to go. So it's all kind of up in the air. But he's a hard worker. He works every day on the pitch and he does his very, very best. And I think that's one of the things we can all agree on is that Richarlison is one of those people you can't dislike. As a fan of the club he's at. When he was at Everton, I couldn't stand him, but coming to Tottenham, I've kind of fallen in love with him as a bit of a cult figure rather than a brilliant footballer for us. He's been a pain, constantly injured, not having form and so on and so forth. But he has also scored some very, very important goals for us and got us into a situation that kept us in the league last season when everybody else was falling behind and not having the right attitude and not being able to deliver. Richarlison was there, putting in the effort and scoring goals that we really needed to get us over the line. Him, Polinia, between them made all the difference. So, I think it's probably time for him to move on for sure, because obviously his time is coming to an end. So you don't want to miss out on the opportunity to make some money off of the back of him. We don't want him to go for free, but of course a lot depends on who comes through the door for sure. So since coming back from Australia and New Zealand, all the talk has been about transfers, ins, outs, rumours and so on. So Fabrizio Romano was talking about FC Cologne for Mikey Moore as a loan. That seems to have stopped at the moment. I haven't heard an awful lot more about that, but that was the talk at the beginning of the week that Cologne was the destination for him. A Bundesliga journey for Mikey Moore after spending a season in Scotland last season. And to be fair, I think that would probably be a good move for him. I think the Bundesliga is a very passionate league. It's a step up, in my view, to the Scottish League. Apologies to any Scotland fans. But I do think that would be a step up for him and another opportunity to learn and to grow and to face some differing competition and so on. Grow as a person as well, playing in another country, this time with a different language and so on. So different ways of training and so on. So I do think that would have been a good move for him, but we'll have to see how that pans out. It's clear that he's not going to make it into the first team as it stands. Still needs some work to do. We kind of watched him in, which I'll come on to, against Gaddafi yesterday, and he didn't look really that settled in that position on the right hand side. I know he plays generally on the left, but he didn't look as comfortable as I'd like him to do. I know it's only pre-season. There's lots to kind of think about from that point of view, but at this moment in time, I do think Mikey Moore still needs a bit more growing and a bit more learning before he becomes a out and out Tottenham regular. Cody Gakpo has been a name that we've been linked with quite heavily. Fabrizio Romano has talked about that, him being a target. But it doesn't look like Liverpool do want to sell him. If he's going to go, it has to be for big money. And the figure they're talking about is around £70 million. Do Tottenham want to spend that on Cody Gakpo? I'm not sure. Obviously, there's still the rumours about Savinho, which has been going on since 1942. So we're still kind of waiting to see what comes out of that. Is Savinho going to be the man? Is Gakpo going to be the man? It's definitely we needed someone else on that left wing. And as I just said, Mikey Moore is not really ready for that yet. And we obviously have Matisse Tell there as probably the only left winger that we've got at this moment in time. And in all fairness to him, I think he's been pretty good on pre-season. I think he's worked really, really well and been probably one of the brighter sparks in the game in the time. But he's not ready yet. He's still a young man, still lots to learn. Could take on a player, absolutely, but he needs to make that final decision a bit quicker, cross that ball, get the ball in and so on, which he seems to dither a little bit and try to take on too many and do too much on his own. So maybe, with the new players coming in, maybe he'll get a little bit more demanding on him to do the right thing, play the right ball and get that learning experience. But at the moment, only Matisse Tell on the left is a worry. Hence the kind of looking at the Savinho deal and now Cody Gakpo. If Savinho isn't going to happen, it seems like Savinho is the one they really, really want. But is Gakpo a kind of a backup plan? I don't know. It could just be paper talk, obviously. I won't talk about Christian Romero yet, although it was reported that Atletico Madrid and Inter Milan remain interested in Romero. But let's talk about him a little bit more at the end. Lincoln City, we're in talks with Mason Melia on a loan. That's gone forward. It's happened. So 18-year-old gone into the Championship. Good move for him. Gives him an opportunity to grow and to learn. Obviously not ready for Tottenham yet. Came from the League of Ireland last season, I believe. Was supposed to be kind of in the under-21s and so on. So a move for him into the Championship would be a good move, a good opportunity to see how he really gets on and what kind of level he's really at. He played in Australia and New Zealand, played 25 minutes off the bench during the 2-1 win against Sydney. That's kind of the times that he put in there. So finally, Juventus confirmed Rando Kolo Muani returned to the club on a permanent transfer from PSG. So that was good news from a Tottenham point of view, because there had been little bits of rumour saying that he may well come back to Tottenham, and I don't think there's any Tottenham fans out there that really, really wanted that. Now, he's clearly a talented footballer, let's be honest. He's clearly a talented footballer, but it didn't feel like he wanted to be at Spurs. He certainly didn't feel like he was putting in the effort that he needed to, and was committed and wanting to get a permanent deal. So his heart was always in Italy. So it's good news. Like De Zerbi said, if you don't want to play for Tottenham, then there's the door. Don't need you, don't want you. And I think that's absolutely the right thing to say. There was a little bit of a link with Nicholas Jackson, but that turned out to just be paper talk, and no one was really serious about that. So that was a little bit of a worry, because we all know we need a striker. And to be honest with you, I don't really think that Nicholas Jackson is the answer. I know he did well against us, but he didn't do particularly well for Chelsea, hence why he went out on loan and so on. So, yeah, a little bit of a wobble from that point of view, but that's all died away. So good news from that point of view. Middlesbrough advanced talks over a deal for Ashley Phillips that came out during the last week. Actually, I think the deal has been done now. £7 million up front with £13 million in add-ons based on promotions and and this, that, and the other. So it could rise to around £20 million, which is an unbelievable deal, really. He came from Blackburn for £2 million. It's been out on loan, done quite well at the clubs he's been at. But not coming through. Van Hecker's come in, Sinesi's come in. We've still got Van der Ven. We've got Kevin Danso, and at this moment we've still got Romero. So limited opportunities for him to come into the first team, and you don't want to just hold a player back in terms of their career. So a couple of loans has been done, and now time to move on permanently. But we have got matching rights. We have got a sell-on clause, which seems to be a theme with all of these deals that are being done. So really good from that point of view. He's 21 years old, so hopefully he'll do well at Middlesbrough. And we did see that Will Lancashire got off to a flying start up there, scoring on his debut as well. So a good deal for them. And again, with that, matching rights and so on and so forth. So really interesting to see how that pans out for him. And if it all works out and he gets even better and the time's right, he could still end up coming back to Tottenham because we have matching rights and so on. Roberto De Zerbi was asked during the week on Tottenham's short and long-term plans, and I think the key bit in this for me, it said, okay, we are spending money, but we're spending money for the plan, for the project. In this part of history of football, they have to be good on the pitch, but they have to understand the financial part. I think the top clubs now, they are not worried about selling players. No. Even Real Madrid, Barcelona and Bayern Munich, when they have to sell, they have to sell. Right price. You don't have to be shy. But when you have to spend money, you have to do that. Strong, fast, quickly, the right player, the right investment. And I thought that was really spot on. You can't hold back. You have to go for it. You don't have to worry about selling your players. You do that anyway. But if you need the player and that's the player you want, you have to act quickly. You have to put the right investment in, and you have to get the player. And I think that's what they're trying to do. That's what we've seen with the deals we've already done, with Fernandes and Tonali. They're the players they wanted. They put a financial package together. They acted quickly. They got the right player that they wanted. And since then, we've seen a lot of deals being done for players that are not in the first team. And so those guys are moving on and supporting the first team by raising funds to go forward. And that makes complete sense to me. And I think De Zerbi has kind of got this balance right with the board for sure. So further good news that we saw this week, Mohamed Kudus and Dejan Kulusevski stepped up their rehabilitation at Hotspur away, and they took to the grass on Wednesday. There's been a video, we've seen the videos of them of running, dodging, shooting and so on, and they both looked in pretty good shape. It's been a long time. I mean, Kulusevski has been out since May 2025 for a right patella. And so that's kind of been going on and on. And a lot of times I've always thought to myself, will he ever actually come back to football? Will he actually ever play again? But, you never know. It seems like they've got to take it easy. You've got to plan things and see it through. Kudus, I think, is less of an issue. I think Kudus will probably come back into the squad and start to play. De Zerbi said he's an important player for us and our main right-sided winger. So a player that we definitely missed last season for sure. So good to have him back as well. His injury was a quad injury and it was done in January. So, 9 months out of playing football, a real difficult situation. So they were seen putting through their places. They did some ball work and so on. So hopefully they will come back a lot stronger. Fingers crossed. I mean, it could be they'll never be the same player again, but we have to kind of see how that pans out. Another story that came out towards the end of last week was Liverpool with interest in Jed Spence, £35 million. this come from the Sun, Tom Barkley at the Sun. For me, this would be an absolute stupid move. You know, you've got Pedro Porro as your right back. You need 2 players in every position. Roberto De Zerbi has said that. So losing Jed Spence after a really good World Cup would be a crazy, crazy move without a backup. I know we've got Archie Gray playing there, but that is not Archie Gray's position. And De Zerbi has said he wants him to focus on one position and become, you know, a master at it rather than jack of all trades, which has been used for previously. So I don't see this one happening. Certainly not for £35 million. In today's market, you should be talking £60 million for sure. And I just don't see it happening. I know Spence definitely wants to play every game. He wants to be the main man, but he played a lot of football last season. He can play on the left. He can play on the right. He can play on the wing. So for me, I don't see that he won't get chances at Spurs. But as De Zerbi said, if you don't want to play for Spurs, then I don't want you. So maybe the pressure's coming from him rather than Spurs with a need to sell him. But we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. It's got a bit quiet on that, and there has been counter reports suggesting that Liverpool are not really interested. So, you know, who can you believe? I just want to touch on Romero because this one's kind of been banding around. It's been going on for a long time, even before the end of last season and stuff. And he didn't do himself any favours going back to Argentina before the last game of the season, although he did come back for it. But yeah, Inter Milan, Atletico Madrid are the main players in this. Atletico Madrid it seems to be the preferred destination, Spanish speaking, lots of other Argentinians there, Simeone as the manager and so on. So that kind of makes the most sense, really. But Inter Milan have been pushing as well, but they've got to make some sales to get him. But it looks like he's definitely going to leave this transfer window. And just to throw it in there, they've now come up with Arsenal are really interested in Romero as well, which, you know, would be an absolute nightmare if he went there. Whatever you think about him in terms of his attitude and his commitment to the team and so on and so forth, you still want him playing for your biggest rivals. I don't want to see him in an Arsenal shirt for sure. No amount of money would make it reasonable. No amount of money would make me feel better about it for sure. It's different from Sol Campbell for sure, because you're talking about a proper transfer where it could be money. You could be demanding £80 million for him and so on, because he is a World Cup winning defender who's considered one of the best. He's a bit of a liability for us, but you know, in terms of his quality, I don't think it's undeniable, really, in my view. So the idea of him going to them would be really, really unimaginable. And I've also seen different stories that are suggesting that this is being pushed by his camp, but then I've seen that camp saying that's not rubbish. So again, who knows what the truth is around that? But for me, it's a no. I don't want to see him over there in their shirt. Not a chance. And I would hope that Romero would have enough sense or enough, respect, I guess, for the club, although I don't think he particularly respects our club, not to make that happen or to ever go there. So we'll see how that one pans out. And so yesterday we had another friendly behind closed doors for Getafe with Getafe. Ended 1-1, a bit of a rough and tumble game. You know, Getafe, a really tough, strong, dirty, I guess, team. Lots of fouls, lots of hard tackles and so on. Luckily, no one come out of it injured. They scored a great goal, to be fair, cut through the centre of the midfield and buried the ball. Kinski had no chance at all. But hard work brought the game a bit more to life, and Tottenham responded with an equaliser from Conor Gallagher. It was only 70 minutes long, just to kind of get some minutes into the legs and so on. And then there was a second game later on in the day for the players that didn't play in this game to play against the under-21s, which the first team won 2-1. So there's been plenty going on over the course of the week, like you say, a lot of rumours and all that kind of stuff, and we're still sat here not knowing what's going to happen about getting the left winger we need, the striker we need. There's no, there's lots of talk about it, but nothing concrete at this moment in time. So we're all sitting waiting for this bomber that De Zerbi has suggested is coming. But we sit and hope that it's going to be soon for sure. Anyway, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching and for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, please do like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. I'm Lee The Dorset Spur, currently chasing down 3,000 subs on my channel. So if you'd like to come over and support me, I'd really appreciate it. If not, no problem. I'll see you on the next one here. And as always, up the Spurs.